Today, I would like to talk about compliments that you can give your child while they're practicing piano that will not only give them a boost in their confidence, but will actually promote and nurture their musicality. Compliments can actually serve a really valuable educational purpose, and that is when you have carefully selected compliments that highlight features or traits of the skill that you're trying to promote in your child or in your student. So if you can a teacher can actually use their compliments to highlight when a child is doing something that's really good in piano, even if they're not entirely successful at it, or even if they don't even realize they're doing it. Having some carefully selected and carefully chosen compliments can actually build your child's or your student's musicianship. So that was something I wanted to say first. This is a post that I'm putting together because a common concern that I hear from parents is that they are not quite sure how to support their child effectively when they are practicing at home. Parents are typically not in the piano lesson with their child, and so they're not really sure what's discussed. And it's also a really big concern for parents who don't themselves have a background or knowledge of how to read music. And so they can be really unsure how to support their kids in learning piano. And so I thought what I could do today is share some ideas for things that you can say, things that you can look out for or try to notice in your child's playing that will support them and definitely give them a boost in their musicianship. And so without further ado, I'll just get started on these. Trait or characteristic number one is accuracy of playing. So accuracy of playing basically means that students were able to read the music correctly. And way too often this is taken as being the standard against which kids are measured in terms of like, can they play piano or not? The challenge is that accuracy of playing is not the only thing that we're looking for in building a child's music skills, but it is important. But it's really stressful, especially for parents who don't know how to play music or how to read music, to know if they are supporting their child's accuracy. And so what I would like to do is take a huge burden off your shoulders and ask you to let me be in charge of whether or not your child is actually playing their songs accurately. And instead, if you could please compliment them on trying to play accurately. So if you notice your child repeating a phrase, or if you notice them stumbling and kind of hammering around their hand position, trying to find the right note until they get it, all of those are their effort. Like that's evidence of their effort towards trying to play their song accurately. And even if they don't get it, it still deserves a compliment. So something like this could sound like, wow, I noticed that you really tried to get those notes during your practice time today. Great job. It was really great to hear. Or if you happen to notice that your child has been able to play their song accurately all the way through, then that can also be a reason for a compliment. Like, wow, I noticed that you managed to play the whole song all the way through with no mistakes. Congratulations. So with that being said, accuracy is again not the only measure of musicality. And so I would encourage you to not linger too long on this kind of a compliment. I'm going to give you a few others to throw in as well, which are equally important. Okay, so that one was accuracy. The next one is steadiness. Steadiness of rhythm basically means the child is able to learn to hold a steady rhythm and to play this rhythm on their own without a metronome. Well, with a metronome too, with or without a metronome, okay? Steadiness is something that is pretty difficult to teach at the very beginning. Um, Steadiness requires having an internal sense of rhythm, and that is something that just needs to be developed over time. However, at that point where they're able to hear and feel that steadiness of rhythm for the first time, that is one of their first steps and their first signs of emerging musicianship. And so if you notice your child playing a song with a steady rhythm, that is absolutely something that you should point out and compliment them for. And so that could sound something like, wow, I noticed you were able to keep a steady beat through that whole song. That's fantastic. Or again, even for just trying. I noticed that you really tried to keep a steady beat with that song. You're really growing as a piano player. Something like that. Okay, so steadiness is number 2. Number 3 is expression. Expression at the piano is usually communicated through ranging in volume, so loud versus soft, pace, so slow versus fast, and style. So for example, like smooth playing versus sharp staccato like playing. Okay, so when we mix and match and combine these different elements of loud and soft, smooth and sharp, or fast and slow, this is what builds the expressive elements of music. And so again, if you notice your child trying out any of these elements of faster playing and then slowing things down to communicate some kind of a feeling, or if you notice them experimenting with loud versus soft playing, these are things that you can compliment your child on too, and it will help, again, build their musicality. So you could say something like wow, I noticed that you played the loud parts differently than the soft parts, and that was very expressive, something like that. And it lets them know that when you're hearing them, you're not just hearing them practice, but you're also hearing them communicate what they're trying to express in that song. And so that's that extra level of musicality that is really important to promote, especially at the beginning. Okay, next is enthusiasm. So enthusiasm is something that a lot of beginners have at the beginning, and unfortunately I feel is not really appreciated that much in formal piano education. I have yet to see a Royal Conservatory exam scoring sheet include enthusiasm as something that they're looking for, yet I feel is central, is the heart of being a musician. If they played the song too fast because they're really excited, or if they only have one volume setting and it's really, really loud because they're so exuberant about it. These are things that are they're trained out of students as they take piano lessons. But I mean, doesn't it just warm your heart that your child feels that way about their songs in the first place? I do. I feel warm towards my students when I see that kind of enthusiasm, and so it's something that I like to compliment them on as well. Just to let them know, to say like, wow, it's really wonderful to see how much enthusiasm you have for that song. It really warms my heart to hear that. Kids don't have to be corrected out of their enthusiasm all the time. So that's my stance as a teacher. Okay, next is resilience. So resilience is also known as grit, and that is basically the willingness and ability to pick oneself up again and to try something again after having made a mistake. This is another feature of musicality that's very difficult to teach. It really does have to come from the inside. And one of the best ways to promote resilience in learning piano is to identify it and value it when you notice it. So if you notice your child working out a phrase and they're practically in tears trying to figure this out, and again, whether or not they even manage to figure out the phrase, the page that's bothering them, the fact that they were willing to try is definitely worth a compliment. And you can please feel like rest assured that if you do compliment them in this area, you're not just providing them good feelings. You really are promoting a trait or a characteristic of musicianship that will serve them a very, very long time, and that is resilience. Last but definitely not least is my personal favorite, which is curiosity. Again, you will not find curiosity on any exam scoring sheet that I've ever found, but again, I think is so central to a lifelong love of learning. Curiosity is the drive to try things, to experiment, to learn, to know things. And curiosity around a piano can often shove out what the actual homework of piano was supposed to be for that week. But again, rather than, like, certainly you could redirect them back to their homework, but at the same time, leave room to value the curiosity that they're showing. So for example, if you notice your child trying something new at the piano, even if it means detouring from their homework, it's worth a compliment. I feel that when kids experiment at their piano, instead of doing their homework, there is kind of a feeling of a need to refocus them back onto what they were supposed to be doing. And I really have mixed feelings about that, because some of the most rich musical learnings and understandings can come about through a child's experimentation and playfulness at the piano. So if you are working with me as a teacher, I would encourage you to please not try to drive away the student's curiosity too much. If they are resisting their homework, there's a reason they're resisting the homework. And so that is something that we should look at separately. But do try to encourage their curiosity and playfulness at the piano, and encourage them to share their playfulness and their inventiveness at the piano in their lessons as well, so that I can hear what they're up to. So if you notice some curiosity in your child at the piano, a compliment as an example that you could give them is something around the lines of, like, wow, I noticed that you tried that song in a different way. That was really neat. What a neat idea. Something like that. Okay. So there you have it. Those were 6 characteristics of musicianship or musicality that I think can be really beneficial to strengthen and promote in your child when they're learning piano lessons. If you have any questions about this, please don't hesitate to reach out. I hope this was helpful in helping you support your child during piano lessons. Thanks so much.